Welcome to Campfire Stories.
Welcome back to the fire, friends, for the last night of the road with the sisters Barnes. When we left them, they had waited 3 long evenings in a little pub at the edge of Fogo Island, Mo with her failing heart, Dott with her stubborn hope, watching the door for a sister who might never come. And on the 3rd night, the door opened, and somebody was standing in it. Tonight we find out who.
Marty, I have had my handkerchief ready for a week. Please. Who was in the door?
It was an old woman, Carol. 75 years old, small, white hair pinned up, a good coat thrown over what looked suspiciously like a nightdress, leaning on a cane, with a younger woman, Bernice, hovering behind her with her hands half out like you would behind a toddler on a staircase. And the old woman stood in that doorway and swept the whole pub with a look, and her eye landed on the 2 strangers at the table by the window, and she came marching across that floor, cane and all, Bernice fussing behind her, going, "Mother, Mother," the doctor said, and the old woman said, over her shoulder without stopping, "Bernice, I have been managed by that doctor, and I have been managed by you, and I am 75 years old, and I will not be managed out of meeting my own sisters. Now sit down."
O.H. Marty. She came herself. She got up out of her sick bed and marched down to that pub herself, against everyone. Marty, that is exactly what Mo would do. That is exactly what Dott would do.
That. Carol is the first thing all 3 of them learned about each other, in the first 10 seconds before a single fact was traded. Dott told me that she and Mo looked at this fierce little woman refusing to be managed, and then looked at each other, and they both nearly laughed and nearly cried at once, because there was not a scrap of doubt left to have. This was their sister. You could have hidden the DNA in the photograph and the whole blue folder, and it would not have mattered, because a Barnes woman who will not be told what is good for her had just crossed a pub floor on a cane to prove it.
Oh, Marty. So she sits down. What does she say? What do you even say, the 3 of you, after 75 years?
Well, here's how it went, Carol, and it is my favorite thing in the whole story. Menna sat herself down across from the 2 of them, and she looked at Mo hard, and she looked at Dott hard, and there was a terrible, holy silence. And then Menna said, the first words she ever spoke to her sisters, she said, "Well, which one of you is the bossy one?" And Dott pointed at Mo without a half-second's pause and said, "She is." And Mo said, "I am not bossy, I am organized." And Menna looked at Bernice and said, "Dear God, there is 2 of me." And the whole thing broke open, Carol. All 3 of them, laughing the hard, ugly, beautiful kind of laughing that is mostly crying, in a pub on Fogo Island. 3 old women who should have had 70 years of this and got 1 night, making up for all of it at once.
Oh, Marty, I'm in pieces. There is 2 of me. She sat down, and the very first thing that happened was she recognized herself in them. What did they tell her, Marty? Did they tell her everything?
They told her everything, Carol, gently, over the longest supper any of them ever ate. Dott did most of it, because Dott has the gift, and Mo held Menna's hand across the table, and they told her about Jerry Barnes. Not the shame, Carol. The truth. That her father was a good and gentle young man, a sailor far from home in 1950, who loved a Fogo girl named Kitty with his whole heart, and was shipped away by the Navy before he ever knew there was a child. That he was not a man who abandoned a baby. He was a boy who was never told he had one. That he went home and married and raised 2 daughters and was the kindest father either of them ever knew, and that if he had known, if anyone had ever told him, he would have crossed this same ocean on his knees. And Menna listened, Carol, 75 years old, and something went out of her face that had been there so long she had forgotten it was there. The shame. It just went.
Oh, Marty. 75 years of thinking she was nobody's, that her father did not want her, and it was never true. He never even knew. She was made in love and just lost in the mail of history. Marty, I cannot bear how much that would heal.
And then Carol Bernice did a thing. Bernice, who had guarded that door so fiercely, had been sitting quiet through all of it with her eyes brimming, and she got up and she went out to the truck, and she came back in, and she set something on the table in front of her mother. It was the old tin. And she opened it, and she took out that scrap of paper her mother had treasured 70 years, the one with a single first name in faded pencil, Gerald, all Kitty had ever given her daughter of her father. And Bernice, crying now, said, "Mother, they have the rest of it. They have his whole name and his face and his whole self, and I nearly kept them from you, and I am so sorry." And she laid the scrap of paper down next to Dott's photograph of that smiling young man, Gerald. And Gerald, the half a name and the whole one, together on a table at last.
Oh, Marty, the half and the whole, side by side. After 70 years, I am weeping. I am not ashamed. And Marty, Mo got her wish. She said she wanted to sit in one room with all three of them, just once before. She got it.
She got it, Carol. And she knew she got it. Late that night, when the laughing had worn down to the soft talking, Mo told Menna about her heart, because there were no more secrets in this family. That was the one rule they had bought so dearly. And Menna took it the way Menna takes everything, head on. She said, "Well, then we had best not waste the time being polite." And she reached out, Carol, and she took both her sister's hands, and Bernice put her hand on top, and the four of them sat there at the edge of the Atlantic on the last night of a 10-day trip, a family that had been broken and scattered and lost for 75 years, whole for the first time and running out of time all at once, and it was, Dott said, the happiest she has ever been and the saddest, and she would not trade 1 minute of it for a painless life.
Oh, Marty, and running out of time all at once. That is the whole of it, isn't it? That is what the icebergs were telling her. That is what the doctor said. Go and stand in front of the lovely things while they are here. Marty, how does it end? How do you end a thing like this?
It ends the way it began, Carol, at a supper table, with a joke. Because the next morning they had to go, the trip was over, the bus and the ferry and the long way home to Ontario. And there were promises, real ones, that Menna and Bernice would come out west before the winter, that there would be more time, some more time, stolen and precious. And they stood on the wharf at Fogo with the gulls going, saying the goodbye that is really a see you soon that everybody prays is true. And Menna, fierce Menna, held on to Mo an extra moment and said, "Gruff, do not you dare do anything with that heart of yours before I get out there. I have waited 75 years for sisters and I am not being cheated." And Mo said, "I will do my best, but I make no promises. I am not the boss of this." And Dott, Carol Dott, wiped her eyes and said the last word, the way she always gets the last word. She looked at the two bossy sisters she now had instead of one, and she said, "Oh, wonderful. I spent 69 years outnumbered by one of you. Now there is two." And they laughed, Carol, all of them, on that wharf, in the wind, at the edge of the world. And that is where I will leave them.
Oh, Marty. Now there is two, only Dott. Right to the end, only Dott. Marty, are they, tell me true, at the fire, is any of it? Are they real?
They are as real as any of us needs them to be, Carol. There are two sisters somewhere who found a third one late, on a hard-hearted, warm-hearted island in the cold Atlantic, and learned that a father they thought they knew had a whole other love in him, and that a woman who thought she was nobody's was all along wanted and made in love and only ever lost. And they learned the thing this whole fire is for, both seasons, all these nights, the thing the boy at the water tower learned and the thing the icebergs teach. That the fortune is never the gold and it is never the being right, and it is never keeping the family looking nice in the photograph. The fortune is the people, while you have them. It is one night's sleep, and one supper with all the chairs filled, and getting to the wharf in time to say the goodbye. The sisters Barnes went the long way round the rock, Carol, and they very nearly missed it, and they did not. And that is a story worth telling at any fire. I'm Marty Shepherd.
And I'm Carol. Thank you for going the long way with us, friends, all 10 days and all 8 nights of it. Call your sister. Call your brother. Go the long way round to the people you have been meaning to reach before the ice gets any smaller. Hold your people close tonight, close and grateful, and come back to the fire again soon. There is always another road. Good night.